Hey, welcome back, guys. 0 Hour. Tim Lloyd, Jeff Hobbs, Dylan McCarthy. It's been a while, gentlemen. Several weeks since we have been here on the YouTube streets, and shout out to our guy Kyle Mays. He's been holding it down. Lots of good content, interviews, and the This Week in Aries series that he's putting out. So do make sure you're still checking out the channel, even though we're not here quite as much. It is fight week, so that means it is time for our preview show. And of course, it is brought to you by Smoky Mountain CBD. Check them out, SmokyMountainCBD.com, our presenting sponsor. They'll be in the house this Friday night for Aries Fight Series 21, which is what we are here to break down. They, of course, hook us up with all kinds of goodies, legal goodies, of course, but they'll get your head right. They'll have you feeling good and take the pain away with some of those pain sticks as well. So make sure you check them out. We appreciate them. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. You'll get notified when we put new content up. We should have lots of new fights here on the channel for you guys to check out from the last 3 shows. And guys, I'm excited to get into it. Jeff, it's been a minute since we've been on here, so you're kind of knocking the rust off a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's been long enough. I had to, edit some of the lower thirds, and the last one on there was like August 11th. And Dylan got on before you, and we were sitting there. I was trying to find. I couldn't find everything. The setup has changed. The newest version, I guess, since we've been gone. So, yeah, it may take a while, like you said, knock the rust off and find where all the buttons and doodads and gadgets are on here. But ultimately, we're here to talk about some MMA and some Aries action. That will never change. We know exactly how to do that. So,
Dylan getting ready to roll into the fall season. 3 shows left to close out the year, 1 in each of the markets, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and Nashville. We missed you at the last show, but I know that you were following along at home. Ready to get back in the saddle this weekend, I take it?
Yeah, if I can't be there calling the action where I love to be, I had a front row spot right in front of my laptop, hanging out in bed, getting better from a little sickness I picked up there. Spectation Sports does a great job, though, and it was great to hear Houston, Kyle, and just see the great action that went down there at Aries 20. Man, I really missed out on a pretty fun one, but it's a good thing I watched it because some of those people who are in action at Aries 20, we'll see them back in action at Aries 21. And we've also got a bunch of other fighters, as you get all the way towards the feature bout on this card. Cannot wait to see some of these guys back in action. I know we're going to break it all down, but it's a great time of year, football, Halloween. Basically, it's just all the best stuff. There was, I believe, the MLB postseason started today. So if you're a sports fan, it's a great time. And if you're a combat sports fan, it's an even better time to get to Knoxville here on Friday.
It all goes down this Friday night from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe, Knoxville, Tennessee. Aries Fight Series 21. You can get your tickets at fightertix.com. Check out the pay-per-view at Spectation Sports. Jeff, let's dive into it. Let's run down these fights. And this is kind of one of those cards that it's a bit of a sleeper card. They fly under the radar, but a lot of up and coming talent on this one. I'm expecting to kind of make their mark and announce their presence in their respective weight classes. So it's one of those cards where not super heavy on star power, but heavy on potential future star power.
yeah. But the other thing this card does is it marks year number 2 complete. October was the inaugural month back in 2021. So it's October is always big for us because it's anniversary time for us.
Yeah,
so,
and we're 21 now. We're legal.
Yes. So October is always big, and so like you said, a little bit of a sleeper card, but I think this is going to hold form to past October shows, anniversary shows. We're going to start out the first section of this bout or this fight card, the prelims. As always, a little bit of everything, guys. Grappling, tag team grappling is back. And then we're going to jump right into some MMA. But don't worry, there will be some Thai fights coming up. Seems there's a lot of people that want to watch some of these Thai fights, so they've moved themselves, and on this paper, down the card, but up the card, if you will, with the Thai fights. So first up, we're going to have a grappling match, 1 10-minute round. First submission wins. Trevor Linderman representing Frankie's Combat, also known as Frankie's Body Shop for you locals in Knoxville, but the competitive side of the gym is Frankie's Combat. They've jumped back on here the last I think 2 to 3 Aries cards at the Joe, and it's been awesome to have them back in the house. Taking on Taylor Burton from Somerset Martial Arts. So we've got Somerset and Knoxville climbing in the cage to start the evening. Then we're going to move into tag team grappling. Them Rowan boys, if you will, from China Grove, North Carolina, stepping in the cage. No stranger to the tag team action. Corey the Joker Heinsohn and Bryce Boyd are going to step in there against the hometown guys, which seems to be the MO for Rowan everywhere they go. They like to call themselves the B-side boys. They relish the role. They love it. And Aries 21, no different. Taking on the hometown team of Cameron Stokes and Will Changus. So that one's going to be fun. The Rowan crew, especially the Joker, Corey Heinsohn, no stranger to this. So he knows the chess match. He knows how this works. He knows the strategy involved. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Chaos crew does in this one. Then we're going to jump right into the 3-3-minute rounds of amateur MMA action. You're going to have Will Graham, an independent out of, is it Bremen, Georgia? Bremen, Georgia. Yeah, debut out of Bremen, Georgia, taking on Team Arden fighter Joshua Ballard. That'll be our first MMA fight of the night. And then we're going to close out the prelim section with Chris Hendrick, a guy we know very well at the Joe. Still searching for that win, man. Still trying to get that first one under his belt, but gosh dang it, he's not going to stop trying, and he is improving every time he steps in the cage. But Chris Hendrick still training independently, but he is getting the work in, and he's going to be taking on Team Chaos right there in Knoxville, Tennessee's own Brandon Burkhart. For this little section, guys, I guess for me, what stands out is the tag team grappling. It's always fun. It's a blast. I love how we do grappling. I was at a show this weekend. It was a good show. They had a jiu-jitsu match, and watching a jiu-jitsu match in the cage at someone else's show just really it was a good jiu-jitsu match too. Don't get me wrong. That's not where I'm going with this, but it just makes me appreciate how we do it with the music on. It keeps the crowd just involved. It makes that awkwardness of just that silence of everybody watching that chess match. So it's just it's got to be the standout part of the prelims for me, just because tag team is so much fun. But I'm just definitely interested. Tim, I'll start with you, man. What are you looking forward to in this first section of fights?
Yeah, I got to agree. The tag team bout is my guilty pleasure. So that's when I'm always excited to see. Corey Heinsohn going to have be the elder statesman in this one. He'll have the most experience. He's already done a couple of these, and everyone else would be a first time attempting it. But the Team Chaos has got Josh Cate in the corner over there, a very accomplished grappler in his own right. I'm sure he'll have those guys game planned up. Also, pretty cool to note. We'll see Brandon Doherty in the corner there for the Chaos crew after a really, really gnarly injury at the last event. It'll be good to catch up with him, and I know he's had surgery since then, and so it's good that he'll be on the scene there. Speaking about Hendrick, like you mentioned, he's looking for that first win. Hasn't had a lot of success just yet, but there's something to be said for his willingness to keep coming back and giving it another shot. He's a former military guy. He did tell me that he's got a sparring partner this time that he's been able to move around with, and he's expecting to show a lot better now that he's gotten some sparring rounds in. Tough draw against the youngster in Brandon Burkhart, of course. Only 1-0 out of Chaos, but a good-sized kid at that weight, talented. Always a pleasure to see Frankie's Body Shop in the house. We saw Linderman last time on a draw to Justin Allegory from Agogi, and that was a really good match. And Allegory's very good. And Taylor Burton, going to be the more experienced guy out of Ian Lawler's group there in Somerset. He's done lots of these matches, so both blue belts. And then the other MMA fight, not a lot to say about that one. I don't know a whole lot about Lee Graham, independent from Georgia. Who knows what we'll get there. We did see Ballard one time coming up from Maryville with Team Arden, tall, slender, lean guy. And he's looking to go 2-0 and bring a victory back to Maryville. I'll pass it to you, Dylan. Anything here stand out to you on the prelims?
Yeah, listen, I don't need to go on a 20-minute aside. These are the preliminaries, and you've got some guys that we're getting a first look at. I will be honest, though, you kind of touched on what I was going to say as far as Team Chaos wanting to rally maybe around, Brandon Doherty's going to be in the building. I was going to say, obviously, watching from the comfort of my own home, I was able to look away and kind of mute the audio when that injury did occur.
Jeff
Definitely
insisted on that too. I couldn't make Jeff watch.
one of
No,
the
I
more
saw it
gruesome.
live the first time. I didn't want to watch it again. And I
Yeah,
wish I could have turned the audio down in real time.
Yeah.
I was thinking that if I would have been there, I believe that injury occurred like one panel away from the commentary table. And I've seen a lot of stuff. I'm on the internet a lot, and I don't need to see that in person. So I'm glad I missed out on that one. I'm excited for Team Chaos to get a chance there to rally around their teammate. Tag team grappling, that's going to be, that is really kind of a signature when we're in the Joe on the prelims. I always look forward to those, just like you said. And then in the two MMA bouts on the prelims, all I would say is that when you're an independent, either you're making your debut or in the case of Chris Hendrick at 0-3, you're up against it. And both of these guys have got very game opponents who have already got W's. If one of those independents could spring an upset, I would actually be very stunned, and it would really put a buzz in the building early. So, yeah, I'm excited for the prelims. I'm closing my eyes right now and kind of imagining how much fun it's going to be seeing everybody on Friday. And as people are filing in, and these fights are going to set the tone for a great night here at Aries 21. So looking forward to these prelims.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there. Just it feels so weird, guys. Just we run so often, and we never take a break. But when just taking 1 month off makes you feel like you haven't seen each other in
Yeah.
ages, like our crew, our staff of work, Joey, just Sarah, everybody, all our officials. It just seems like you haven't seen them in ages, and it's really just been, a month off, just one.
Mhm.
So you're right, Dylan. Definitely excited to be able to hang out with everybody. Uh, Moving on, undercard guys, undercard. What we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bouts on the undercard. We started the show with 4 in the prelims. Going to do 6 here in the undercard. We're going to start out after our first intermission in the middleweight division. We're going to have Aries the Jaw Burris, Total Combat Arts Club out of Gastonia, North Carolina. Usually when we say Gastonia, we're thinking of Jimmo, but this is Total Combat Arts Club out of Gastonia. Aaron Burris is going to take on Mark Calhoun from Somerset Martial Arts. Sticking with MMA, we're going to the welterweight division. Caleb Spears from the aforementioned Jimmo out of Gastonia, North Carolina, taking on Eli Haynes from Legion Jiu-Jitsu out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. One of the locals here in my neck of the woods. Have we, Tim? Is this the first time we've had Legion come out of town?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Legion coming out of town, so that's going to be cool to have them come to Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Black Eye Athletics, and our next bout is sending Ricardo Powell in a featherweight fight against Mason Cook from Cook's Impact, Powder Springs, Georgia. Looking forward to that one. Ricardo Powell is somebody that's always entertaining to watch. Next, oh man, the Savage, Nate Gould, Nate the Savage. If you haven't checked him out on YouTube, amazing performer, entertainer, rapper, if you will. And I'm going to tell you, I enjoyed some of his damn music, man. I've listened to quite a few of his songs, and it's pretty damn good. Why he doesn't walk out to his own music, I don't know. I would. That's just me. But Nate the Savage, who the last time he was in, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, like literally came in like same day, 24 hours notice. Like
about 1 hour notice.
Yeah, about 1 hour,
Yeah.
1 hour notice, and came in and took a tie fight, and he'll be fighting Ty again, 3 2-minute rounds, but with just a little more notice this time, obviously. So it's going to be cool watching Nate Gould with some notice in the cage. But he's going to be taking on Michael the Great Tate, Team NKI fighter right there in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're going to jump back to MMA after that. Kenny, I'm going to have to work on this name. Well, no, mind, I'm not announcing.
Orellana.
Orellana.
Uh-huh.
Orellana. 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 Cook's Impact again. I see now we're going to do a little corner.
Where's one? Yeah, there's one.
But also from Cook's Impact, Powder Springs, Georgia. And Kenny's going to be taking on the Western Viper. Ooh, new nickname for Ryan Dirksen. Memento Combat Sports, Louisville, Kentucky. Now
That's Louisville, Tennessee, actually.
Oh,
yeah, that's essentially Maryville.
Okay. Well, now
Mhm.
Ryan Dirksen though, we've had
Er,
Dirksen on before,
Yeah,
but
he
he
was
was
with Adam Sylvie last
Adam.
time
Okay,
out
that's
of
what was throwing me off.
Wolves Den. Then, yeah,
Wolves
He
Den. That's
won,
where I
yeah,
knew it.
he
So
won
he's
the Old Hickory Award. I just wanted to chime in. I believe
he
he won the
did.
you're absolutely
National
right.
Guard Award.
Mhm.
So yeah, Dirksen's with a new gym in a new city and is breaking out the new nickname for it, the Western Viper. And then we're going to close out the undercard. Skylar King, Black Eye Athletics, and Skylar is a jujitsu guys. If you follow him on, I mean, very well versed, awesome practitioner in jujitsu, and he is saying fuck it, I'm jumping in and I'm doing some Thai. I want to throw these hands and see what's going up. And he has taken on the hometown kid who has got a lot of people coming. I'll tell you from the ticket sales, David Isaacs from Knoxville, Tennessee, who is very well versed in the pugilist style. So this is going to be a clash of styles, but holy shit, I'm just going to go ahead and say on this undercard, this is the one I'm picking as standing out to me just for that clash of styles. We know David Isaacs is good with his hands. He's good with them things. But for Skylar Keaton to know that and be just at peace and
Mhm.
okay with jumping out of his element. I mean, the guy is in jujitsu competition after jujitsu competition, and this one has got me intrigued. Um, I feel like Skyler knows something we don't. Or he's just got a set of balls on him so big, and he's like, I don't care. Let's just do it. I want to get in work. So for me, guys, this is the one that stands out. Now, again, there's a couple little individual things. I liked Dirksen the last time we saw him, so I'm interested to see what he brings to the table individually. Nate Savage, again, I want to see what he brings with some actual notice now, and not just putting his drink down to jump in the cage. Those two individuals stand out for me, but matchup wise, I can't wait for King and Isaacs. Dylan, I'm going to throw it to you first. What about this group right here stands out to you?
Yeah, you heard me chime in there for the Orelena versus Dirksen contest, and I'll always remember the first time we had Dirksen in the cage a couple months back. Robbie Ring was on commentary that night, and Dirksen made a really good impression on Robbie, Houston, and myself. He showed that he could get through a little adversity, never really had any problems with the gas tank, and he's got a very fan friendly style. So when I saw that he was on this undercard, I was super pumped. And taking on a debuting fighter, when you get into Joe, and at this point, we're going to be about 6 or 7 fights into the card. I have a feeling that the energy is going to be ramping up. People know that we're getting near the main card time. And when you got Dirksen, who already won an award his last time here, getting the toughest Hickory award, I'm sure he wants to make that customary. Each time he comes in here, he's going to want to pick up an award. So I think that about number 9, that's going to be something to see. Ricardo Powell is another name that jumps out at me. I know we've seen him in the Aries cage before, and really, really athletic. He's right now 1-1, but he's somebody, in my opinion, shows the tools to really get his amateur record to that plus side and start stacking some wins. So I know he's taking on the debuting Mason Cook. That is going to be another bout that I would really pay attention to. Tim, you're the man who put a lot of this together as far as the matchmaking goes. What do you think we should be paying attention to on this undercard?
I'm pretty stoked for several of these. Honestly, there's a lot of very very interesting debuts. I think that I'm curious to see how they look. We saw Aaron Burris last time out jump into deep waters kickboxing against Tyler Jones. So
Mm-hmm.
this will be his first MMA fight, but he's already been into the fire. I mean, it's not fun. I can imagine going a couple rounds with Tyler Jones. It came up on the short end of that, but I did think demonstrated a fair amount of toughness in that bout. Now he'll take on Mark Calhoun out of Somerset there with Ian Lawler's group. He is the striking coach at Somerset. So I expect this would be a bit of a banger, a bit of a sleeper fight. Caleb Spears out of Jim O, very good wrestling credentials, a two-time NCAA Division II All-American out of Newberry College. So I expect him to have some grappling chops. If I'm not mistaken, Holtzman told me he is a blue belt if I'm not mistaken, but he at the very least has a lot of wrestling. Eli Haynes, as you mentioned, Jeff, coming out of the Murfreesboro, Nashville area with Legion Jiu-Jitsu, Checkmat. Excited to have them out. He is also a blue belt, appears to be a very physical, strong guy. So this fight, for the level of these two competitors, kind of low on the card. I think it can sneak up as well. Ricardo Powell, love working with him. One of the more positive guys you're going to come across. Just always so pleasant, cordial, amicable fella. I'm going to be interested to see if this making 145 is a problem, though. That is one thing that I'm going to be watching on Thursday, because he's not fought this low before. I'll be curious to see if this weight cut affects him. He's taking on Mason Cook out of Mark Cook's Cook's Impact. This is a second time we've had them back up after probably about a 6 or 7 year hiatus for Cook's Impact. They were around back in the golden years of MMA in this area. But Mason Cook, the son of Mark Cook, his brother Camden Cook is who took on Nate Gould last time on short notice. So the older brother Mason Cook coming in here to make his debut. And I talked to Coach Cook earlier today, and if he wins, he's actually wanting to call out Nate Gould to avenge his brother's loss on the last one. So some little things at play there, I think. Mason Cook, a white belt, it says here in the notes. And then let's see, we've got Muay Thai action, Nate the Savage Gould, one of the taller guys you're going to see at that 145 class. I mean, this guy's maybe taller than 6 feet, just very tall and rangy. Like Jeff mentioned, we saw him fight on about an hour's notice last time against Camden Cook. He was victorious in that one. Now he's got the full camp. He'll be taking on Michael the Great Tate out of NKI. First time we've seen him. Don't know much about him, but from his pictures, he looks athletic, explosive. From talking to Greg McMahon over there at NKI, he is a very good athlete. So this is another one that has got some potential. Kenny Orellana also has wrestling credentials from high school, and of course training there at Cook's Impact, making his debut against Ryan Dirksen, the Western Viper. This one, size, I'm curious about, because Dirksen can make 35. He's actually walking a little under 45 already. So I'm curious if Orellana is going to have some size on him if he's cutting weight. Dirksen, as we mentioned earlier, this will be his first fight under Memento Combat Sports in Louisville, right outside of Maryville. It's kind of my neck of the woods. It's Maryville BJJ's MMA program, I guess, is the best way of explaining it. So I really don't know what to expect there. First time was with Adam Sylvie at Wolves Den, who we're going to talk about on this card soon enough. Don't know what the issue was that caused that split, but he's at Memento now. Those guys at Maryville BJJ, Joe Watson and the crew down there, very accomplished grapplers. Don't know about the striking. That part I'm very curious to see, because they do not have a plethora of MMA fighters coming out of that gym. So I expect the grappling to be on point. Dirksen already was a pretty good striker to begin with. The last time out, Dirksen also had a very short notice fight. He fought Nick Golden on about an hour's notice, also from Rowan Wrestling. And Golden was coming in at 1-0 and kind of got the better of Dirksen in the first round, from what I remember. And then the second round, as Golden started to fade a little bit, Dirksen turned it on and got the win. So rounding out the undercard, of course, our final tie fight. I'm with Jeff. This is my this is the one that stands out most to me. I'm excited for it. Skylar King, as Jeff mentioned, is mainly known as a grappler, solid purple belt grappler, maybe even got his brown belt by now. But, that Black Eye Athletics with Coach Brian Keith down there, they specialize in kickboxing. So I'm assuming his kickboxing should be serviceable at the very least, I would think. This is his first Muay Thai fight, so we'll find out. David Isaacs, 2-1 with that one loss being to the aforementioned Tyler Jones. If you guys remember, Isaacs went all the rounds with Tyler Jones. He ended up on the wrong side of the decision, but he was competitive. I remember that fight. It was a brawl, and to go 3 rounds with Tyler Jones, who now is another weight class higher, than these guys. But at that time, it was at 170, and I thought Isaacs performed well. I want to say he broke his hand in that fight, and that's why we haven't seen him in a minute. But he has helped us put the cage up a time or two, so we appreciate that. That's the undercard, Jeff.
Yeah. Before we get to the main card, Dylan touched on it, so I want to go ahead and expand on it. Toughest Hickory Award will be back in the house on Friday night. The Army just, sometimes scheduling, gets in the way. And, honestly, just to be 100% transparent, we had a lot of internal things going on. Nothing bad. We just had to get some ink dry. And, definitely happy to announce official. Not that it wasn't before, but it was kind of what would you call it, Tim? Just a honeymoon period until it became official. But
Mm.
we have signed a 3-year sponsorship deal with the Tennessee Army National Guard, and the ink is finally dry on it. And we can officially say that. So you'll be seeing more and more of them, and their name plastered on a bunch of more places when it comes to Aries. Nice, relationship we've had so far. So that Toughest Hickory Award will be back in the house, and also back in the house, the other
Oh,
award that some of these guys at this bottom of the card have already said they got
oh
their
yeah.
eye on is the proper 12 knockout of the night belt is back. It is in my possession, and it is coming out on Friday night. And I know there's a few guys on this card that love at least the opportunity and chance of taking that butte home. Proper 12 themselves, the distributors will be in the house. There'll be Proper 12 specials going on all night. So let's make sure we're about to close out 2023. Let's let the Proper 12 guys know how much we appreciate them being there. Um, Moving on to the main card, uh, this very first one right here, I'll say there's a lot of good nicknames on here. We've got the Jaw, we've got the Western Viper, we've even got an Atomic Blonde. All of those are good guys, but
They are.
Austin practice mode linker, not beast mode, not game time, prime time. Now we're in practice mode. Austin practice mode linker. I love it. Is going to be taking on Austin from Total Combat Art or Total Combat Arts Club in Gastonia. Is going to be taking on someone who we haven't seen in a while. Was supposed to be on our last Chattanooga card, had some health problems that he had to work through and just get his body back right again. But the juggernaut, Jeff Jankowski, is ready to knock the rust off, wipe his feet before he goes in, and get back to work. This one's going to be back in the middleweight position division. We know Jeff was trying his hardest to get down to 170. I still think he's going to get there. He's just got to do it a different way. Than what he was just so hardcore on his diet
Yeah.
before. And he's getting all that worked out. But to get back in there after such kind of a health scare, he felt it was best to just stick at middleweight for this one. But Jeff Jankowski, Lawrenceburg Combat Club, and when you say Lawrenceburg Combat Club's in the house, you know there's going to be some rowdy ass people in the crowd supporting Jeff Jankowski. So this one is going to be exciting just because, like I said, everyone kind of got scared when Jeff had his health issues, and we really wasn't sure what was going to happen. I mean, Tim, when you called me, it was like, he's in the hospital. It's kind of a scary moment right there. So,
Mm.
going to be exciting to see him back. That'll be your first fight after our second intermission to start the main card. Next, Bailey Flaherty, Cook's Combat, representing Cook's Combat. Sometimes she's been independent. She's been cornered by a Gogi in the past. Her significant other, Dustin Berry, is obviously an Agogi guy, but Bailey's been going down to Powder Springs, Georgia, and getting a lot of work in with the Cooks guys, and they have bestowed upon her, their name to represent their gym. So Bailey Flaherty, who is 0-1, but we saw her in a hell of a match, her in her debut. That was just grueling to watch. But Flaherty's going to be stepping in against the Atomic Blonde, Kennedy Hunley from London Martial Arts. If you were at the Joe the last time London Martial Arts was there, you know it because they took over an entire section of the bar. They were loud and they were proud. I believe half their crew took a bus to
Mm-hmm.
Knoxville, Tennessee, and pulled up front. I hope they all have their IDs though this time, Tim.
Yeah. Right.
But they pulled up in a damn bus to support the guys from London, Kentucky. And Kennedy was a huge part of that fan contingency. It's her MMA debut, so we're gonna have Flaherty and Hunley. Definitely stands out. The females are always fun. You know what Flaherty's going to bring. You know what Hunley's going to bring now, fan wise, and this one's going to be. I think this one's when we may hit like that peak
Mm-hmm. Me
of,
too.
of the peak of fandom in the crowd. Another familiar face, Josh Mackey in the light heavyweight division is going to be taking on Adam Sylvie. We talked about Adam before, but Josh Mackey representing Tom Galicchio down in Militia MMA, Chattanooga, Tennessee. He's 2-2. He's just kind of he started hot. He kind of got in there with some really tough competition. I things have kind of leveled out for him a little bit. And I think, a lot with Josh has been him trying to figure out his weight class. That's really just been where, trying to get as low as he can, having to fight for so long at a higher weight class, and just trying to find where he's going to perform best. And Josh feels like right now, for the time being, the light heavyweight division is ideal for him. So he's returning to that. And Josh is going to be taking on Adam Sylvie, 3-1. Sylvie's only lost Zane Burton in a title fight. Adam's one of those cats that tells you every time he sees you that he's done, he's retired, that the wife won't let him do this anymore. And then he always finds a way to get back in. I don't know what he's doing at home, sweet talking, buying gifts. He'll call us every once in a while and say, all right, one more. So this one light heavyweight fight, I think is going to be really good. And excited to see that one. Your co-main event of the evening, a guy we haven't seen in the cage. A lot of guys we just haven't seen in a while.
For various reasons.
Yeah, for various reasons.
But some nefarious
reasons.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think so.
Quentin Sims, Q. Quentin Sims is back in the house in the Aries cage. Quentin Sims, Q, is a character. He's done everything in Aries, from fight to videotape, or to cameraman. Yeah. He's gotten fired from more jobs in Aries, from the glove table, from the cameraman spot,
security.
He's been a corner. He stepped up and cornered a guy once. It was amazing.
He's cornered guys. He's one of our favorite guys to put up the cage. He's definitely our favorite guy to fire from the cage crew. But you can't keep a good man down. Q is always. He doesn't let getting fired get in the way. Nope. And just keep on asking till you let him back. But in all seriousness, we love Quentin Sims. And really, he's only been fired from those spots because he can't separate being a fan or a teammate from doing his job. He's the only person we've had to mute a pay-per-view because he wouldn't stop talking during filming. But Quentin Sims is going to be taking on, and guys, Quentin's a character, but let's not get it twisted. He's 4-2, 6 fights, and he's got a 4-2 record. And he has taken on, from Nashville MMA out of Nashville, Tennessee, Killer Coup 2. Coup with a 4-1 record. We just saw him go through a battle against the Slim Reaper out in Chattanooga. And Coup is a guy that is eyeing a future title fight. He's asked about a title fight. His coaching team wants to see a few more things out of him, but they've said he is close, and we're close to letting him pull the trigger on doing that. And so you've got 4-2 Quentin Sims versus 4-1 Coup 2 out of Nashville. This one is going to be a fun one because usually Coup's explosive, but Coup is always the shorter fighter no matter who he fights. He's short, he's compact. Well, guess what? For the first time, he's going to fight someone just as short as he is. Same body style, same thickness, same muscular build. Quentin Sims has put together himself. And two of these forces meeting in the cage, I think we're going to see a lot of big moves, big slams. And this one's going to be exciting, guys. Your co-main event is definitely going to be exciting. Then for our main event, it's going to be in the light heavyweight division. There's a reason that you've got 4-2 versus 4-1 as the co-main event, and we've got a 1-0 versus 1-0 in the main event, and that's because London Martial Arts is sending Wes Wolf and the London Martial Arts crew to Knoxville again to fill the place out, and they are going to do it. They've been doing it. They've started. They bought the hell out of tickets already. I imagine the bus is coming, but when you got that kind of support, there's no other place we can put you guys except the main event. One, because we're smart business people too, and we're going to keep that crowd, that lively crowd there as long as we can. And so we've got another great nickname, Afro Samurai DeAndre Williamson out of Total Combat Arts in Gastonia, North Carolina, 1-0, taking on Wes Wolf, London Martial Arts, London, Kentucky. Tim, what you got on these last 5?
Man, I really some of these you just got me fired up for. Actually, I'm pretty stoked. First off, Jankowski's fight, originally supposed to fight against Colby Cook. Colby Cook pulled today with a cracked rib. So Austin Linker steps up, very short notice, thanks to him for doing that. That said, we were kind of we were I had so many 185 fights on this, and with so many of these guys between Jankowski and Wolf, and just guys in that range, like I thought it good to have
I was
a
supposed to say,
bit of a
Tim, let me cut you off, Tim.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
cut you off because I'm going to give you props before you say it yourself.
Oh,
Because you see this in the UFC a lot. This is the first time we've ever done it, and it worked out perfectly. Where the matchmaker sees a fight on the card that, not to be picking on anybody, but just sees a weight class or two, or maybe even several in one weight class, where you just get worried and you go, I can't afford for any of these fights to fall out.
you don't want to lose
I,
Volk.
I'm going to book a 185 or to train, get all his medicals, cut his weight, and get in shape just to be a backup fighter. And it worked beautifully because Tim's had Austin Linker's name at the bottom of our bout sheet,
Mhm.
just as licensed or medicals, blood work done, assuming he's fighting with no opponent, ready to step in. And as soon as, lo and behold, it happened today, that bout was empty for only about 30 seconds before he said, all right, we're good. So congratulations. And that worked out perfectly and beautifully, Tim.
Well, I appreciate that, and ultimately, it's going to make for a better fight because Linker is ready to fight. Man, it's not like he's coming in unprepared. He has been, training as if he would have a fight there with his pals Aaron Burris, DeAndre Williamson. Now, practice mode as he goes by has done some street beefs. You can find him there on the street beef videos under practice mode. So you may want to check him out. This is his first official sanctioned fight, but it isn't like he's coming in without ever doing anything. So this fight is very intriguing to me still, all the same. And like we mentioned, Jankowski's had some a bit of a health scare. I haven't seen many people with that kind of dedication to changing their health and changing their body. This is a guy that's lost 100 pounds plus at this point and really just needed to slow it down a little bit. He was working too hard, which is in a way a refreshing mindset. You don't see that very often. So very excited to see Jankowski back in action. Excited to see Linker, see what he can do. And then of course from there we had the female bout, Bailey Flaherty and Kennedy Hundley. That's striker versus grappler. Bailey Flaherty, a state champion wrestler out of Georgia in high school, but also just kind of tough and slightly mean. She's got a little bit of a mean streak to her, which goes a long way at this level. Kennedy Hundley, my vote for the best nickname, the Atomic Blonde. I like it. Rolls off the tongue well. If she can go somewhere with this thing, that's gonna serve her well down the road. Striker though, man, we saw her kickboxing last time out. She beat Asia Pak from Striker Fight Center in fairly one-sided decision, I thought, and just very good hands. She's young. She's only like 19 years old, give or take, but she's got a fair amount of boxing experience. This will definitely be your striker versus grappler about another potential for fight of the night because both these girls are just very, tenacious and aggressive, and they're going to bring it. The I got to say the Josh Mackey and Adam Sylvie fight is one of the ones that I just don't know what's going to happen. It could go so many different ways. Mackey, of course, has the wrestling chops, wrestling there at UTC, in the past, coming off a couple losses though, and then the same for Sylvie. Both guys coming off losses, so you'll see where their heads at on this thing, how their confidence is. Both guys finished in their last fight out, but both guys had momentum, early in their careers. We're doing a keys to victory type thing here now. And Dylan, you wrote those out, and I thought you did a really good job on this particular fight. Especially, I'll let you get into that a little bit more when you go. But that is a fight where both guys are so nice. You hate to see the guy lose, really. But at the same time, I'll be happy to see one of them win as well because both guys need a win. Co-main event. This is my favorite fight. This is the fight that I'm the most excited for. Q versus Ku. There's been a little bit of chirping back and forth for like 2 years now about this. Before Q had his sabbatical away for a little bit of time, he was calling for that fight. So now we're gonna have it. Both guys, like you mentioned, are interested in that 135 title held by Earl McKinney, and both guys will have to come correct for that fight. That's a fight that is the champ Earl McKinney very very. Very tough, very good
You remember
everywhere.
Tim?
So,
Ku what? Ku suit. whatever the fuck your name is.
Yeah.
That was his interview after a win.
Yeah, yeah, that
Whatever
was
the
good.
fuck your name is.
Now, in the past, Q has been repping Agogi Combatives. He is independent for this fight. I do think he's been over there some doing some rounds and being, getting some work in. However, he has said he is an independent fighter for this. I do not think he'll have the Agogi corners there with him, but it's a fight that he wants all the same. And these are both guys that are looking to stay with this. These are not one and done guys. These are guys that are looking to go as far as they can with this. So I'm excited for that main event, and then I'll turn it over to you, Dylan, for the final take. I think Wes Wolf and DeAndre Williamson is going to be violent. I think we're going to get a finish either way you look at it. Don't know which way that'll go. Williams is so long and tall; he's like 6'4", and uses that reach pretty well. Coming off the win over Christian Lee, where he looked pretty solid. Wes Wolf with a win over Agogi's Chase Blevins last time in a very dominant fashion, very just aggressive, hard ground and pound. He's a police officer up there in London, so the entire busload of guys coming down is essentially the London police force. So they're loud and proud, like you said, Jeff. And these two guys, to me, with 205 being a bit of an unpopulated division, fast track to Finn Martin, in my opinion. I would imagine the winner of this should be pretty close to stepping up to Finn. Dylan, close us out.
All right, no pressure at all. But I gotta say, starting with the first fight on the main card, I love finding out. I did not really know the lore behind practice mode, but as my YouTube history will tell you, I'm a fan of street beef. So we'll dig into some street beefs, and we'll see what exactly Austin Linker is all about. Yeah, that's a really awesome debut, and the reason this is a great fight for me, I gotta get eyes on Jeff Jankowski. I want to see what the guy obviously looks like in person. You see on social media, he's been through such a physical transformation, and you guys both touched on it to the point where he was working himself so hard that his health, took a step back. He was slated to have a fight that I really anticipated against Anson Phillips. That was supposed to go down in Chattanooga. We had a great night, Anson Phillips got the W there, but Jeff Jankowski's kind of like a blue chip player here. He always brings a big crowd, and he's a big brash personality, and there's a lot of interest in what he's going to do next. So, I mean, coming off his most recent fight where we saw him beat Miles Peak, I mean, he had half the building going bananas for him and then the other half for his opponent. And if Jeff can, continue to get back to his winning ways, there's no reason to think that that's not going to be a big time draw at 170 or 185. Whatever weight class he fights at, he's got a bunch of people that want to see him fight. That makes you an exciting fighter on the regional scene, and I cannot wait to see him get it going. But yeah, practice mode, stepping in on short notice. Obviously, he feels like he can do something here, and what a feather in his cap it would be if he could upset the juggernaut. So right off the bat with the main card, I'm already on the edge of my seat because I'm very intrigued. And then you've got the women's bantamweight contest. Bailey Flaherty, man, what a crazy fight with a ton of different scrambles in her first bout that saw her come up a little bit short. She was bloodied. But the reason that I think you're encouraged if you're Flaherty is you were having some success in those crazy scrambles. And now you're taking on a fighter in Hunley who, yes, won a kickboxing bout out at Aries 20, but didn't go through those crazy scrambles. Had a relatively dominant win over a very tough Asia Pac. That was a really good kickboxing match. And if Hunley can keep this on the feet and use that same movement and striking acumen, I mean, she really got the skills to get herself a win. Really good matchmaking there. That's going to be a great one. You touched on, Tim, the keys to victory segment. And I kind of had the same read as you at first, that with Mackey versus Sylvie, there's a couple different variables here. I guess their styles, while they both like to grapple, they both like to get in close. One of the things that I've highlighted for Mackey is even in the rounds where I think he wins, and I think that you can give him credit, man, they're just so darn close. The fight just looks so grueling. I really think that for him, being the younger fighter, probably with more energy, establish these rounds. He's really got to define the rounds so that the judges have no doubt that they are watching a Mackey winning round. If you get into one of these kind of labored slugfest, clinch fests, stop takedowns against the cage, just don't muddy up the waters. I would love to see Josh Mackey get his hand raised after, utilizing the skills that we know he has. For Adam Silvey, when we've watched him, he's just there's no doubt when he's winning because he's advancing position. He's getting to full mount. He's going for subs. He's hitting ground and pound. So something's got to give there. Something has really got to give between one of those fighters and their style and what we've seen in the past. And like you said, when two nice guys fight, unless, you get a draw, which is very long odds of happening, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. And that would be, something to watch there in the light heavyweight division. At this point, we've reached the co-main event. Quentin Sims taking on Q2. I'm going to start with 2. You guys mentioned the fight that he had in Chattanooga against Noah Bassender. I rewatched that recently, and 2 hurts him bad in the first 25 seconds to the point where Bassinger is kind of on skates. Now, Bassinger is just so tough, and Rowan has got him coached up so good. He knew exactly what to do to hang in there and survive, and fought his way back into the fight to the point that it was a split decision. But to me, 2 is just so crisp and so explosive, especially in the early going of a fight. His opponent, Quentin Sims, we love him, big fan. I actually talked to him, about a week ago about this fight. He's as game as ever, but he's had some time away. He was able in his last fight in the Joe, he pulled kind of a surprising win where he just stayed on a neck, and his sheer upper body strength for a guy his size, he was able to just wrench on a vicious guillotine and choke the life out of his opponent. I know submissions have been a bugaboo once before for Q2, but with the work he's getting at Nashville MMA, I don't think he's just going to fall into a rudimentary submission attempt. So it's a tough way to come back into the fold for Quentin Sims. But he's one of these guys where you count him out and all he does is prove you wrong. So that is going to be a super anticipated co-main event. And then, of course, bout number 15, we get to the main event. Afro Samurai, I watched a bunch of his tape before watching him fight Christian Lee. And I was really encouraged in the Christian Lee fight. His counter-striking is deadly. He's got great fundamental boxing footwork. He seems like he's always 1 or 2 steps ahead of his opponent in the striking game. And taking on Wes Wolf is a specimen. He's a bully in there. It's going to be big for Afro Samurai if he can frame, keep him off of him, fight this at a range where that frame of he's got his opponent running onto jabs, running onto hooks so that he can stay at range and execute that game plan. For Wolf, you guys are talking about how much support he's going to have in the building. He's going to need to feed off of that because he's taking on a very accomplished striker in Williamson. Even at 1-0, you go online and you can tell this guy's been in boxing gyms. He's been in boxing matches. He's been in fist fights. He knows how to fight. So when you go from top to bottom on this main card, starting with Janikowski and Linker, finishing with Williamson taking on Wolf, everything in between that is going to be electric. If you're not a ticket holder at this point, definitely get on to where you need to be to get those tickets, whether it's Fighter Ticks or calling up a fighter who's still got some tickets for sale. And if you can't join us, in the building there at Cotton Eye Joe, Spectation Sports, your exclusive home. Don't fall for all the fakes on social media. Get over to Spectation Sports. It's the exclusive home for Aries Fight Series and so much other regional sports action. Tim and Jeff, you guys, it's great to see you, and you guys have done a great job putting this one together. I cannot wait until Friday evening.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Did anybody see the bus? Tim, did you see the bus last time? Because it makes me wonder.
When they were pulling up, I saw.
Does it have the cages on the windows? Is it actually the police bus?
No, I don't think so.
That would be
it was more like a party bus.
That would be cool as shit.
That'd be like the longest yard, little Adam Sandler.
Longest large / Con Air. I don't know. I'll just end real quick. You were talking about the Sims and 2 fight, Dylan, and well, let me first start by I did not read your keys to victory, but just hearing you talk about them, they were so spot on, and I loved your take on the Mackey and Sylvie fight.
Thanks, guys.
With just the simply don't muddy the waters as the key phrase there. Don't muddy the water. I never thought of it that way. Of Mackey having to absolutely think about those judges and make sure, even if you have won the round, make sure it's a dominantly won round so that you don't give them any second thoughts. That one was spot on. And then on the 2 fight, you know, giving you some more insight, Dylan, is when I said that Two's wanting that title fight, but his coaches didn't think that he's ready, and you're talking about Quentin getting his opponent in some precarious situations. The one thing that his coaches want to see more from Kutu is listening in the cage to the instructions from the corner. And so if he gets himself in a situation where he's winging it and ad-libbing out there and not listening, Quentin Sims is going, to put you in a position that if you don't listen to your coaches, just like what happened last time, you said, crank a man's head off almost. So what's keeping him back from that title fight, if he's not careful, could cost him this fight, and then he doesn't get there. So again, some spot on analysis there from you, Dylan. But
Thank you.
Tim, Dylan, that's about it, man. I know we wanted to get off quick, but
Yep.
This always happens to us when we take a month off. We miss not talking about this shit.
Yeah, right.
So when
yeah.
we get into it, it gets fun again when you've had a breather and you've been able to decompress for a month. Your juices kind of start flowing. As much as I'm dreading Friday again and having to put it up and tear it down, and your juices start getting, and we get a little long-winded. But guys, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, they are still on sale. FighterTix.com. There are. Hell, we had to bring the tables back out. We put the VIP tables away and just started doing VIP chairs. We had to bring the tables back out because people asking for them. I think there may just be like 12 maybe individual VIP chairs available on one side. I imagine for you guys wanting to buy tickets, I think this one's going to be a big walk up, especially from the London crew and the bus coming. I think they know they're just buying theirs at the door. So that line could be long. You might want to just try to be able to bypass the ticket buyers and go to that will call table because you've already bought yours. It might get you in the door a little quicker. But for me, guys, I'm excited. Tim, any final words?
No, man, I think everybody's kind of put everything into perspective. I'm excited to get back to it this Friday night at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe, our final Cotton Eye Joe show of the year. So if you've enjoyed this Fight Night at the Joe series this year, come on out one last time for this year until we're back in January. It's your last time to see the fights here in 2023. And like we said at the beginning of the show, this is a card that is, I think, going to sneak up on you. I think it's going to have some fights that deliver, and I think we're going to have some memorable moments this Friday night. For Jeff Hobbs, Dylan McCarthy, I'm Tim Loy. Make sure you hit that like button for us, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get apprised when we put up new content, especially the fights, which will be up after 30 days on the channel. We appreciate you guys hanging with us. Again, throw us a like on the video down there if you don't care, and we will see you guys next week with a recap show. We'll go over all the shit that happens this Friday night. Once again, check it out. Expectation Sports for the pay-per-view. FighterTixWithTheNext.com for the tickets. Once again, for Jeff Hobbs, Dylan McCarthy, I'm Tim Loy, signing out. Another edition of the 0 Hour in the books. Peace.